It was a cold Thursday morning when Maya Williams walked into the office, her head held high, ready to face yet another day working at the high-powered tech firm. For months, she'd been putting in long hours, her dedication unmatched, delivering exceptional work that constantly exceeded expectations. Yet despite her efforts, she felt invisible to her boss, Richard Grant. Richard was the kind of boss who never seemed to acknowledge Maya's accomplishments, always overlooking her when promotions came up and favoring others who were less qualified. And worse, the way he spoke to her, condescending, dismissive, and occasionally laced with subtle racial undertones, had made Maya's work environment unbearable. Every day, she'd walk into the office, battling not only the challenges of her job but the silent tension that brewed between her and Richard. But that day, something was different. Maya could feel it in the air, a shift in her energy that pushed her to act. It wasn't just about surviving anymore, it was about standing up, demanding respect, and proving her worth. The day started like any other, with Maya preparing for the team meeting. She had poured hours of effort into the new project proposal, a plan that could potentially revolutionize the company's product line and boost their bottom line. She was ready to present it. As the meeting started, Richard entered the room, glancing around before taking his seat. His eyes flickered to the others, exchanging pleasantries, but when they landed on Maya, they were cold, dismissive, as usual. "All right, Maya," Richard said, a hint of sarcasm in his voice. "Let's see what you've got for us today. Hopefully, something that'll be worth the team's time." The comment stung, but Maya didn't flinch. She stood up and began her presentation, walking the team through the intricate details of her proposal. She spoke confidently, articulating every point with clarity and precision. As she did, she could see the others in the room nodding, some of them even looking impressed. Richard, however, remained silent, his arms crossed as he scrolled through his phone. Maya finished her presentation, feeling proud of her work, but as soon as she finished, Richard interrupted. "Honestly, Maya," he said, glancing up briefly from his phone, "this is the same idea we've been talking about for months. I don't see anything new here." Maya's heart pounded in her chest. She had poured everything into this project, but instead of the acknowledgement she deserved, Richard was brushing her off like she didn't matter. The room went quiet. Her colleagues shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Maya took a deep breath, her mind racing, and then, without warning, she decided enough was enough. "No, Richard," she said, her voice steady but strong. "What I've shown you today is groundbreaking. It's new, and it's exactly what this company needs. You just haven't been paying attention." The room went still, a heavy silence hanging in the air. Richard looked at her, his eyes narrowing, his arrogance palpable. "Excuse me?" he snapped. "I'm tired of you undervaluing my work," Maya continued, her eyes meeting his with unwavering confidence. "I've been here for years, and every time I've delivered results, you've ignored them, dismissed them, or taken credit for them. You've brushed me aside because of the color of my skin, but that ends today." The words hung in the air like a bombshell. The tension in the room thickened. Maya's colleagues exchanged glances, but no one dared speak. Richard's face reddened with anger, but Maya didn't flinch. She could feel the weight of her words, and she knew she had just crossed a line. But it was a line that needed to be crossed. Richard's voice was sharp as he spoke, trying to regain control of the situation. "You better watch your tone, Maya," he warned. "I'm your boss, and you will respect me." Maya took a step forward, her resolve unwavering. "I do respect you, Richard," she said calmly, but with power behind her words. "But respect is a two-way street. And right now you're showing me none." Richard's face twisted in disbelief. The audacity of her words was too much for him to process. But Maya stood her ground, feeling a weight lift off her shoulders. She wasn't just standing up for herself anymore, she was standing up for every person who had been overlooked, dismissed, or silenced by people like Richard. The tension in the room reached its peak, and just when it seemed like things might explode, one of Maya's colleagues, Sarah, a senior team member, spoke up. "I think we've all seen the work Maya's done," Sarah said, her voice firm. "Her proposal is solid, and if anyone deserves to be in charge of this project, it's her." The room collectively shifted. Maya's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and gratitude flooding her chest. Sarah wasn't the only one who noticed Maya's brilliance. Slowly, one by one, the rest of her colleagues started to speak up, offering their support. They had seen the hard work, the dedication, and the brilliance Maya brought to the table. Richard, realizing that his grip on the situation was slipping, shot Maya a final glare. "This isn't over," he muttered, standing up and storming out of the room. But Maya stood tall, her heart pounding, knowing she had just made a pivotal choice. She had confronted her boss, defied his racism, and in doing so, she had not only earned the respect of her colleagues, but had also opened the door for change within the company. What happened next would shock Richard. The company's leadership, finally realizing the value Maya brought to the table, made an immediate decision. She was promoted to lead the project, a role she had rightfully earned long ago. Richard, on the other hand, was quietly reassigned to a less influential position. But the story didn't end there. Maya's stand against her boss inspired a movement within the company, a movement toward diversity, equity, and inclusion that rippled through the entire organization. Her courage to speak out, to defy the systemic racism that had held her back for so long, became a catalyst for change. In the end, Maya didn't just get the job she deserved, she transformed her workplace, and in doing so, she set a powerful example for others. Her story was one of resilience, defiance, and triumph over adversity, and it would inspire countless others to stand up for what they deserve, no matter the obstacles in their way. And as for Richard? Well, he learned the hard way that no amount of power could silence the truth or the strength of a woman who refused to be ignored.